Welcome to Her Fantasy Football Podcast. Three sisters talking a lot about football. Whoop, whoop.
So close.
Yay. Come find us at herfantasyfootball.com and on iTunes. You can also reach out to us on Twitter at herfantasyfb and on Facebook /herfantasyfootball. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Courtney Kirby.
And I'm Ashley Williams.
And I'm Brandon Lee.
What? So exciting. Hey.
It's so close.
We're sounding really high right now.
Close to football.
Well, why not? Everyone else is doing pot in the NFL.
Everyone is, right? That's the standard.
Worst news ever.
Doing pot. You don't do pot. Smoke
Of course you
it.
do pot.
I guess you can do it now because you can eat it, you can smoke it, you can lick it.
Yeah.
This is
sounded
getting
dirty.
weird. I was about to sing that song from the 90s, you know.
Which one? The How Many Licks one?
No, it's just inappropriate in general, so we're not going to go there. But you know what's not inappropriate?
Sipping on gin and juice.
That's not inappropriate.
Laid back.
Laid back. With my mind on my money and my money on my mind.
Snoop is always appropriate.
Oh.
Always.
We just want to throw this out there right now. We were nominated for the Ice Bucket Challenge. We all donated to the ALS Fund. We appreciate you. I hear that they've raised $5 million thus far since this all started, which is very exciting.
It's crazy awesome.
They've raised more than that even.
Raised more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
I did the challenge. I just haven't posted the pictures. I had no one there to record it. So I had to take a picture of the bucket.
Ashley likes wasting water.
We already
She's wasting
I don't
water.
care about the environment. We already covered this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ashley legitimately doesn't care about the environment, but she also wastes water alone. So it's a double whammy.
I had to do it because Brandon was gone, and Courtney had something else going on. I was like, well, I guess I'll be the one to do it. I just haven't posted the pictures yet, but I will.
But you will.
How do you take like a selfie while you're dumping ice over your head?
I took it after. I mean, I don't have that weird freakish strength to have a whole ice bucket with one hand and a camera. That'd be awesome. My arms would be killer. But no, I took it afterwards.
Yeah, it was really hard to convince my 4-year-old to dump ice water all over me and my 2-year-old to hold my phone videotaping it all. It just didn't work out the way I was planning on it. So
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that really happened, and I was
no. Oh, wow.
you're like the child whisperer.
Yeah, right. It's been a day in my life, and you would disagree with that statement. On some exciting news as well, you guys, Her Fantasy Football will be launching on ESPNW on August 28th. Woo! 1 week from today, you guys. Please come out and show your support. Come to the website. Look at all of our fun stuff. It's exciting. We're so excited to team up with ESPNW. And, yeah. So we'll be on ESPNW, but we'll also be on herfantasyfootball.com with our rankings, blog posts, and much more. So you can find us in both places. It's dress rehearsal week, everyone. Full makeup.
The only week that matters.
That's right. This is it, guys. It's week 3. It's not week 4. Week 4, the starters usually rest. They prepare themselves for the first game of the season. So week 3 is where you're going to find who really falls into the new offense, who actually is going to be the starter. Some teams will still hold out to let you know that things, but this is it, guys. This is it. So we are going to go game by game this week, like we do during the regular season, to let you know who we think our starters, sleepers, and bench players are, relationship statuses, updates, all of those fun and exciting things. And we'll get to some of your social media questions and more money, more problems. There's a lot of them. Don't do drugs, right, Brandon?
Please.
Please.
You know, I found that a mug that we had. Do you remember the DARE program?
Yes.
Yes.
Don't do drugs, just give hugs.
Yeah, kids need hugs, not drugs or whatever. And I have the mug. I stole it from Mom, which would probably make her mad. But I was like, this is hilarious.
Well, if she listened to the show, she'd be really angry.
Yeah, but she doesn't, so it's fine.
Our mom doesn't listen because we talk about bad things.
which is no different than when we're just at her house. But
No.
for some reason, it's different because it's being broadcast to the public.
It's true.
What are you gonna
It's
do?
true. Details.
What are you gonna do?
Fair
We're
enough,
going to get
Kathy.
started. Thursday night game, guys, this week is Pittsburgh Steelers at Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah. So that kind of leads us into our more money, more problems.
Oh.
Because the problem is marijuana.
Marijuana.
It is interesting. So it was LeGarrette Blount and Le'Veon Bell.
Which, by the way, his name just lends itself, right?
Right. Exactly. Of all the
I think
people.
it's blunt, but it's definitely blunt in this conversation.
Blunt. Yeah, I call him Blunt. He will forever be blunt to me.
Mhm.
But they both were caught and arrested for marijuana, which is funny
this
because
is so fantasy relevant. It hurts my backbone.
we're talking not only Le'Veon is the starter, Mr. Blunt, Blount, whatever we call him. Can we all agree to call him Blunt?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
until if you get arrested, that's what happens.
Until we find out it was a pipe, we're calling him Blunt.
Yeah, exactly. He's the backup, which then leaves us to our third person, who I'll talk about in the sleeper category, Dree Archer. So the two starters you're actually going to pick are obvious. These are husbands. Antonio Brown's a top 10 wide receiver, and then Le'Veon Bell is, running back. So the average ADP for them, for Brown, is 8, and Bell is 10. So you'd be obviously taking them, so I'm not going to waste my time talking about them. But we are going to talk about Dree Archer. So, with the arrest of them, this makes this an even more interesting situation because he's actually been doing pretty well in preseason games. He had 2 big catches, So one went for 40 yards against the Bill and a 46-yard one against the Giants. And what's really interesting is that the Steelers have had only 7 receptions from a running back that has been over 40 yards since 1988.
Woo!
And Dree Archer has 2 of them in the first 2 preseason games.
Thank you for starting the show off with a stat like that. Ashley.
Right? I know, it's totally
yeah.
random. I have
We're in mid-season form right here.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Isn't that an interesting
Blunt
one?
jokes and
Mhm,
stats that are going
mhm.
crazy town.
Ooh.
So I really like him
Drop the
because
mic.
I think they're going to use him. I think they were going to use him anyway in some sort of fashion because he is doing a pretty good job receiving. But now his stock has gone up even more. I mean, his ADP is 70, so you could get him really low. But
Who is this?
Dree Archer,
I can't believe
it's 70?
He's never been taken in any draft that
70,
I've
yeah.
done.
yeah. But now that's going to be. I mean, his value is much more now because of this whole situation. Because I'm sure they're going to get suspended for some sort of games, right?
Well,
Had
but
that happen.
they still haven't come down with something for Dwayne Bowe, right? For his DUI last year. I don't know if it's going to happen this year. Or
But
maybe
see, but he wasn't convicted for a DUI. He was convicted. They bumped it down, and he was convicted for like a light out in the license plate and
Got pleaded down.
and some other charge that's not drug related.
yeah,
so
it was probably called being a football player, right?
Mhm.
Do they just have a little thing for that?
No, not necessarily.
With
a
the
lot of times
reduction?
that people get reduced down. I mean, because it depends on if he was actually high or if he just got the DUI because he had marijuana in his car. It did smell like marijuana, but that could just be really good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I like his he's got more upside to me now, so I think he's a more interesting pick again in a very low round. And then Marcus Wheaton. So Wheaton had a 16-yard catch for a touchdown against the Bills this last week, and he's basically got the starting job locked down opposite of Antonio Brown. Hypothetically hasn't been named the second starter, but he is basically what's going on right here. And against the Eagles, if this game actually mattered, which it doesn't, the Eagles' defense is really bad. So it would be a good opportunity for him to actually get some touchdowns and have some good connections with Ben Roethlisberger, who I didn't bring up because he wasn't quite a sleeper. Ben Roethlisberger's not a sleeper, but he's someone that would you consider if you had like maybe a 14-team league or you picked him up as your second backup, but not pertinent. And there's really no one on the bench for me with the Steelers either. So that's them.
That's them.
That's the Steelers.
People have been asking me a lot of questions about Heath Miller.
I don't like to acknowledge that
surprised.
Heath Miller still plays in the league.
I'm just surprised. Like
That's all there is questions about Heath Miller.
Like, should I start Zach Ertz or Heath Miller? I'm like, Zach Ertz.
Zach Ertz.
Should I start Antonio Gates or Heath Miller? I'm like, Antonio Gates. I feel like every time I answer, I'm like, I don't understand.
Like, where's the question?
Functional for like a fill-in, but I don't understand starter status. You know who is a starter on the Philadelphia Eagles? Nick Foles. Let me explain. Can we stop for a minute? So the first game that I tried to watch the preseason, I did buy the preseason ticket on NFL so that I can watch all the games. The first one that I tried to watch, and by tried to watch, I mean I thought I was going to get through full preseason games. Now I'm just down to I watched the first half. You guys, I can't. It's too painful. It's too painful. Right. But I tried to get through the Chicago Bears Philadelphia Eagles game. It was a nightmare. It was, okay, so let's put it this way. 7 penalties in the first quarter. That's crazy. It was terrible. And the whole offense in Philadelphia is based off of being like up-tempo, keeping things going. They couldn't get anything started. So yes, he threw 2 interceptions, and he threw 2 interceptions the whole year the year before. It didn't matter. It was so bad. It had nothing to do with him. It was just a terrible game. But he bounced back against New England. Which, by the way, New England has an improved defense this year, so they're not exactly an easy team to run over, but he did a great job. Completed 80% of his passes for 81 yards and a touchdown. He's fine. If you believe in Chip Kelly, you believe in Nick Foles.
I'm confused why there's even, like, discussion about this.
I know.
I mean, we're talking, it's like first preseason game where nobody looks fantastic, and who cares? It's basically glorified practice is what first preseason game is.
Well, and we'll talk about it later. The reason why it looked worse is because Jay Cutler looked really good, which is fine. Jay Cutler's in Mark Trestman's offense.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wins. So, anyway, this would normally be a fantasy orgy game, Chicago and Philadelphia. Instead, it was a nightmare. But anyway, moving on, against the Steelers. So, LaShawn McCoy, he missed a few days of practice due to turf toe.
Somebody asked us, like, is turf toe really scary? Yes. Turf toe sounds like a total wussy kind of injury, but it's not. I mean, they use their toes. I mean, that's how they get their foundation. That's how they have their balance. And if their toe is off, that affects your entire running game. It's a very serious injury.
Their toe isn't literally off.
No, they didn't lose their toe. But I'm saying it throws your balance off. It's really important. I mean, if it's your pinky, whatever, but...
Well, supposedly he's fine. I mean, we're still married to him, but I think that we're starting to check his emails.
You're checking his emails.
Sure. I think I'm checking my husband's emails on this one.
Did he download Messenger, and has he been sending direct messages?
Now, if you downloaded Snapchat, we have a real problem.
Yeah. No, I haven't found anything yet. I'm just, oops, how did you leave your browser open? I'm married with LaShawn McCoy right now. I'm just checking in. I'm just checking in with the turf toe. We'll see. Which, by the way, I do not do that to my husband at all.
I've never done it. I've never searched somebody's phone either.
No. In fact, Carson and I have each other emails. Passwords anyway, and sometimes we're like, hey, I'm not home, can you check this for me or something? I don't know.
Yeah, thus far my husband and I have very boring lives. There's really nothing to check.
No. Well, LaShawn McCoy, turf toe, keeps my interest. However, he did lead the league last year. I just want to remind you with 1,607 rushing yards. Expect a repeat. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Keep on the blinders.
It's fine.
Jeremy Maclin. Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac. You guys, he's coming back this third preseason game with Riley Cooper. Both of them have been out the whole time. So I really don't have anything to say about them, but you probably should draft them, I guess, on last year.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, not Maclin for last year, but...
2 years ago. You're right. You're right.
Even more scary.
Really returning. Yeah, a little more scary. Sleepers, though, Jordan Matthews taking up. He's really kind of doing a great job with Maclin and Riley Cooper being out. He's a rookie from Vanderbilt. He's kind of excited. He set the all-time SEC record for receptions and receiving yards last year. And also, he's related to Jerry Rice. His mother is Jerry Rice's first cousin.
Interesting.
Very nice.
Little trivia for you. I'm coming around on the Zach Ertz, Brent Selleck train. I'm coming around. It looks like they're doing a lot of 2 tight end sets. And Zach Ertz has got 6 of his 7 targets for 86 yards and a touchdown. Although one of Foles' interceptions was when he was throwing towards Ertz, but whatever. And then Selleck caught 2 of the 3 targets for him, and that sentence is weird, but anyway, for 45 yards. Both passes were for 23 and 22 yards. Ooh. So that's nice. I think they're going to use both of them. Ertz is going much higher than Selleck, so you're not even going to have to draft Selleck. So I'm just bringing him up as if you don't want to draft a backup tight end, you'll be happy that Selleck is on the waiver wire. So he's someone you should keep your eye on. On the bench, Mark Sanchez. Stop it. There's a little renaissance going on with Mark Sanchez. Okay, he's completing 81.8% of his passes. Congratulations. He has 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. This might be a first for him. Congratulations. I think this is great. He's not going to unseat Foles. Don't worry about it. But he might get traded to one of these teams that needs a quarterback. That rumor I could get behind, interestingly enough.
Could you be speaking about Oakland?
I was speaking about the Browns, but we could do Oakland too.
Oh, Browns.
Oh.
I just got sassy.
That would be very interesting, throwing Sanchez into that dynamic.
So good. Kardashians written all over it. Ohio bias.
Mark is totally Kim.
Mark is totally Kim. No way.
He has a selfie book.
No way.
Well, he's the one I want a selfie book of.
Yeah, he's the one you want.
Yeah, I was like,
no way. Manziel is Kim for sure. Hoyer's Courtney.
Maybe more Chloe, because Chloe, I could see her flipping people off more so than Kim.
No way, Chloe is like lovable. What is lovable about Manziel?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
By the way, don't draft.
And Manziel is not. There is that.
Right. There is that. Darren Sproles. I'm gonna make a bold statement here. I don't think he's worth drafting at all.
I would agree.
The rumor is that he's only going to play 20 snaps per game. And to let you know, he played between 25 and 35 snaps per game in New Orleans and still wasn't someone that you would start on your fantasy team. LaShawn McCoy is awesome. And frankly, if McCoy goes out, Darren Sproles isn't really the handcuff. So, anyway, I wouldn't draft him. And you know who else I wouldn't draft? Alex Henry, their kicker. He missed a 40-something yard kick in the last game, and they just picked up competition, a rookie named Cody Parkley from Auburn, to compete with him. I don't like kickers with competition. You heard it here first.
No, it should be the one confident position you go into your season with.
Right.
Your kicker. You know who it is. Amen. Signed, sealed, delivered. That's not good.
I want a Matt Prater. Thanks.
I'm
out.
Done with the Eagles.
Thanks.
Bye.
We're going to move on to Friday's games. We're starting off with Carolina Panthers at New England Patriots. I have both of these teams. For me, starter, last game made me feel so much better about Carolina. It's offense, I should say. Yay!
Yeah.
Yay! I'm going to start with my sleeper, Kelvin Benjamin, although he's not really a sleeper, but his ADP is 131, which is the 13th round, which I think is great value for the number 1 wide receiver getting balls thrown to him from Cam Newton. So, hey. And he's huge, really big, 6'5", 240 pounds. That's a target, people.
That's a big guy.
That's a big target. I like him. He had a 29-yard touchdown against Buffalo. I'm okay with that. Take that. Thank you. So I love him. Cam. I'm back onto Cam's train. I'm okay. He's got people to throw the ball to now. I feel a little bit more confident with him. His injury seems to be doing okay. His ADP is 56. I think that is pretty good where he should be. I'm taking him off. It's the complicated marriage status. We're moving back up to serious boyfriend. Greg Olsen. Love him. Yay, Greg Olsen. He's my boyfriend.
Love consistency.
Yep. Yeah. Always and always. Now, this is a no-brainer, but I just want to say it out loud. Carolina Panthers defense is still going to be your husband, people. And you kind of have to go kind of high for him. It seems like the ADP is 81. That seems bananas, but
It's ridiculous.
I
Don't
mean,
take him at 81.
if people are taking defenses fast, you can either do one of two things. You can take a defense fast as well, or you can hold off and just play game by game and get a defense. But 81 for a defense and not the number one defense is really high. Really, really high. Who I'm not going to be drafting are the running backs for Carolina.
No.
They scare me. I'm just done. I'm done. D'Angelo.
Although people seem to be super psyched for Jonathan Stewart again because he scored that touchdown.
Stop it.
Awesome.
Stop. Oh.
I think he hasn't scored a touchdown since, 2011 or something, I want to say.
I didn't even write his name down because I don't want to talk about it. It's just like, he doesn't exist to me.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, I don't. You know what I'd much rather talk about? Are the Patriots. And that's just a true statement. Rob Gronkowski, his ADP is 30. He is a husband. I know he's injury prone, so you should probably get a backup tight end. But
not probably. You absolutely have to get back.
I'm okay with him. And just so you know, guys, he is going a lot higher than 30 in a lot of leagues. So just because his average
way higher
is 30, in some leagues he's going as high as 13th overall. So
he went in the first round in one of my leagues.
Well, there you go, people. He might not be available.
Don't do that.
I would not reach for him.
Yeah, I want to stress, I said he went. I am not telling you to take him in the first round.
Right. I'm not telling you to take him in the beginning of the second round either. I think it's just way too
I am
high.
straight up telling you to not take him in the first round.
Yeah.
No ifs, ands, or buts about
Now
it.
that we're clear, this dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
You know what? When people tell people to break a leg, don't tell Gronkowski
Oh my
to
goodness.
ever break a
Did
leg.
you see, they would show practices of him, right? And he has the crazy elbow brace. He's got the knee brace. The guy is basically a fictional cartoon character, part machine, with all these braces on him.
It's not. It's really crazy.
It's really sad.
But when he plays, he's amazing. So
Super talented. No
super talented.
argument.
But just know what you're getting yourself into, and that should never ever be your first pick. Okay, moving on. Julian Edelman, ADP 71. He's my husband. I don't know if he's anybody else's husband, but I love Edelman.
I've gotten him in a lot of drafts. I think we value him a little higher than other people, but I don't know why they're not valuing him that way. I don't understand it.
Again, if Tom Brady is passing him the ball and he is the number one wide receiver for the New England Patriots, which Belichick has some voodoo stuff going on where they win games, get stats, then you want him on your team. And
Black
he's
magic.
He's the only consistent player, and Brady loves him. Black magic, it's true. So I love him. Both running backs are going pretty high. I mean, not really high, but pretty high for what they are. I know it's. Shane Vereen. He's going the highest at 67, and I like him, especially in PPR leagues. 47 of his touches last year in his 8 games were receiving touches, so that's wonderful. So I'm okay with drafting him, but Stephen Ridley, I just don't trust him I just don't trust him. So his ADP is 80, and if he falls lower than that, and you get him for a great value, sure, take him. But I would not reach for him. I love Tom Brady going in the 7th round. I'm all about that. He was 8 for 10 for 81 yards and a touchdown last week. Yes, he might have had an interception, but it wasn't his fault. But that is the downside of Tom Brady, is that he has an unreliable, inexperienced receiving core that half of them play, half of them don't play, half of them know the plays, half of them don't. So it's the downside of him. And for the Patriots, just can we stay away from Danny? Danny, you're off my list. You're off. You're done.
Sad.
She's speaking of Danny Amendola.
Yeah, I am. Danny.
Talking about you, Danny.
Talking about you, Danny. So let's talk about something more positive. The Jacksonville Jaguars, shall we?
They looked like a totally different team.
It's amazing.
They are my Arizona Cardinals of the 2014 season. I'm telling you that right now.
Nice.
Where I am like, oh, is it going to be a hot mess? Oh, maybe not. I sort of love the Jaguars.
Seriously.
It's my daughter's favorite team. After the Broncos, they love the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Both of them?
Yeah.
Really? Maybe I'll get them something. This
Don't
Jacksonville.
do that. No, don't do that.
Although, can we discuss for 1 second here? I find the glitter helmet a little weird.
Yeah.
That's why little girls like it, though.
Initially,
It's
I was
also
like,
not pink. It's not offensive pink, but it's just glitzy enough to really draw
but
you in.
what grown man wants to wear glitter on?
None. It's a terrible choice, but I'm
Terrible.
telling you, that's why our nieces love them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bad choice. Also,
the helmet's
black
cool.
is so
but,
matte.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. It's just it's.
No, wait, I'm
funky.
sorry. They don't have the Panthers had the glitter helmet.
Well, it's matte. The black is like a matte.
Black is matte.
Black, and then it kind of yeah.
I'm thinking the Panthers have the silver glitter.
Oh, the Panthers have silver glitter. Yeah, no, the
I actually like the Jags helmet.
yeah, the Jags. It's kind of creepy. The matte is like negative space, black matter. Anyway, starters. So Toby Gerhardt's kind of the only guy that you're going to draft that's like a starting fantasy option. He didn't look great against the Bears, though. He kind of looked slow. Wasn't real great. But they're saying that he's going to get 250 to 300 carries over the season. And anyone with those numbers were all in the top 11 running backs. So if he gets those carries, it's the way it is. It seems excessive to me, but I think it's okay to draft him thinking that that's the case. His handcuff, however, is Denard Robinson. Denard Robinson's had a great preseason, so keep that name in mind. And I would definitely get the handcuff because Gerhardt taking that many snaps seems a little crazy. So, sleepers, though. Blake Bortles, I just want to talk about how great he is. I know that they're going to sit him. I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, for all of you out there who have been drafting Johnny Manziel in your drafts, I would suggest that you draft Blake Bortles instead because this guy actually might play and he might actually do a good job. So and
Manziel isn't going pretty high too, which is even
I can't.
crazier part. Like people are drafting a backup.
The same people who's drafting Dre
quarterback.
Archer at 70.
You know what?
The same people.
Well,
I can't
that is
wait
out
till
of
we get to
all
the
the
Browns.
running backs, though. So that's his ADP.
Oh,
of
and the running backs. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought like overall.
not overall.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, that's really high.
No, but I can't wait to get to the Browns because I have so much to say about drafting
we
a
all do.
backup quarterback. But we all do. It's going to be a free-for-all. So let me just say this about the Jags. Blake Bortles is completing 64.3% of his passes. On 18 passes, he's thrown for 277 yards. No touchdowns, but also no interceptions.
Hey.
Oddly enough, though, Chad Henne's doing okay, too. So I'm not telling you to draft Chad Henne. Don't. But I'm just basically telling you that this is a better Jaguars team, and I'm excited for them. And I think they're going to have some tough games because they're still new, all playing together, but I'm excited for them. On that note, Marquise Lee. First of all, Cecil Shorts, Ace Sanders, everyone's out. Marquise Lee, hello. He's 4 for 4 for targets for 27 yards and a touchdown. I have no problems with him. That's a sleeper, people. That's what sleepers are made for, right there. He's a rookie, so I don't really have a whole lot else to say about him. Other than for late round flyer, you can get him pretty late, and in deep leagues, he could be very valuable. Mercedes Lewis, also 4 for 4 in the preseason for 55 yards. And if you're waiting on tight end, or maybe you have a tight end that's like kind of and you didn't take a backup, he's on the waiver wire most of the time. And if you also want to take him and like Travis, is it Kelce?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
Kelsey.
Yeah.
from the Chiefs. Like these guys are people that are I'm really targeting for late. Like if I'm deciding that tight end's the one I'm not really going to deal with, two great picks. The bench. I'm sorry, Cecil Shorts and Ace Sanders. They were the only guys going in that had ever caught a ball in the league, but Sanders is suspended for 4 games due to substance abuse issues. However, he actually had an apologetic tone when he talked about it, unlike Justin Blackmon, who not only said, I don't have a problem, but then went out and got a DUI the next day. So Justin Blackmon's out for the whole season. There's nothing to discuss there. He has no chance of getting his sentence reduced. Shorts continues to struggle with a hamstring issue. Supposedly he's back at practice and he might play against the Lions, but
that's been lingering for a few years too.
Yeah, and I'd wait to see the spark. If you don't see the spark, I'd rather draft Marquise Lee.
Yeah.
Or Allen Robinson, who hasn't really like done a whole lot this like preseason, but I feel like you have other options in the Jaguars. Marquise Lee is really the only one I'm talking about. I'm not even gonna go into the other people. Marquise Lee, if you're gonna take a Jaguar like as a lark, he's the one. Yeah. Jags.
Done. On to the Lions. So you're basically starting everybody from this team. Everyone's your husband on this team. Lions! Calvin
Courtney's so much more
Johnson.
forgiving than me. I'm the only one that's still angry for Courtney last year.
Well, Courtney's loved them for a while, so
She's okay with it.
you forgive us that you love a bit more than other people. So
They got me to where I was.
They did.
I wouldn't have had the most points in the league if it wasn't for Stafford and Johnson. So, yes, they lost me my championship run, but, whatever.
I sent the trophy away today,
still
by the
awesome.
way.
You sent the trophy away? Oh, my God.
It's on its way to Dad.
Did you give it a big kiss?
I had a picture taken with it because I realized in the whole year I had never taken a picture with the trophy that I won.
Oh, my God.
It's not a good picture, but at least it happened.
It happened.
Well, back to the Lions. Now that we
Lions.
know Brandon took a selfie with her picture. With her
With the
trophy.
trophy.
So Calvin Johnson is a no-brainer, obviously. I've also got Golden Tate, Matthew Stafford, Reggie Bush, Joique Bell as people that you should be obviously drafting. But Stafford had, he's done well. He was 9 for 10 last week for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I like the look of that.
Better than well.
Yeah, 9 for 10? That's awesome. And Golden Tate. So I was a little suspect on Golden Tate initially because he's Golden Tate. But
I know that you guys were all down on it. I was like, no, man.
But he's doing really well. Like, he looks good. Now, granted, Calvin Johnson hasn't played, and Calvin Johnson is slated to play in this third game. Fingers crossed he actually plays. So we've had a few more looks at some wide receivers maybe we wouldn't have prior to. But what's interesting about, Golden Tate is his percentage. So he's actually gone up from 50s in 2010 to now he's in like the 60s, I want to say. What is he at now? So he's getting better and better each year, and this is when he's been on more of a subpar team. So now he's with Matthew Stafford. He's in a better offense. I think it's going to work better for him. So I like him a lot. Chris Durham also looked really good. He had that awesome catch in the end zone. Did you guys see that when he's like leaping hand grab? It was awesome. So I like him a lot as well. And Reggie and Joique are kind of, you could take either one of them. They're so, and our rankings are right near each other. Some people have, Joique a little bit more spread out from Bush, but I like them both equally. So I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of them all. I don't have any sleepers because, again, you're just playing the whole team. Except for the tight ends. I have them all benched. I literally just said any and all tight ends on this team. Don't even go there.
They have more depth in tight ends than they do in wide receivers. It's amazing.
But they don't really use their tight ends all that much.
No.
There's literally no point in drafting them. I'm telling you, you're going to look at this and be like, Lions are a crazy offensive team. They are, but they aren't for tight ends. So please do not be tempted to go that route. Stick more to your receivers. This is a receiving team more than a running team.
I love this is our dress rehearsal because this is where we got to at the end of last year, where all of us said, don't play this team's tight ends. And I think I did the same write-up for like 3 of my teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I love everyone, but don't play a tight end.
Don't do it. Ryan Broyles was the other wide receiver that I liked. So Durham, Broyles, Golden Tate.
Didn't he hurt last year?
Broyles?
I remember him being big 2 years ago. What happened last year? Why wasn't he big last year?
I don't know why he wasn't big last year.
I'm becoming an old woman. I can't
potential.
remember these details. But I remember Broyles. No?
Yeah, and I remember Broyles too. But I think this would be a really important game to see who technically is going to kind of fill that number 2 slot. So I think they're all kind of vying for that time. I think Golden Tate's the guy, but I think we'll see an interesting third.
It's Tater.
What?
I said it's Tater.
Tater?
That's what I'm calling him. Golden Tate. Tater.
Oh. Like
Tater Tot. Hello? Hello?
What do you mean not?
I've
I'm
never
not
heard
following.
anyone call
Tater
him
Tot.
Tater.
I've never heard someone call him Tater. So I was like, Tater, what? Wait, what?
It just sounded.
I don't mind
I
love tater tots, so I'm on board. But I like
doesn't love tater tots.
You know, Tater.
You know, Tater.
All right, next matchup. It's the New York Minute. Ooh. I don't know. New York Giants and New York Jets. Doo-doo-doo-doo. All right, I'm gonna go.
New York state of mind.
Thank you.
All right, so just keep going back and forth.
I'm going to go into this little moment here. Victor Cruz said, there's no reason for great concern at this point because the Giants have been keeping things simple. To me, simple is catching a ball.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't want to, like, judge here, be judgy. And I also said mainly because we haven't shown a lot, Cruz said, via NJ.com. We haven't given a lot of plays, tipped our hands on a lot of things we're showing in practice. Oh, yeah, I know everybody doesn't show their whole playbook during preseason, but I'm pretty sure catching a ball and having a completion is kind of, part of football. I don't know.
Are you trying to play coy like they're bad plays because they don't want to show their hand?
I mean, I'm just quoting him. I'm just
all the
quoting
teams,
him.
they could use some practice. They need to take these preseason games seriously.
At the end, he just says, we just have to do a better job of executing. Yeah. No bleep. Like, for sure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Obvious. Whatever, Cruz.
Victor Cruz is the farthest thing from the problem with this team.
True, but still fun.
No, but I just love that that's his response.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
No, I mean it's
they're
I'm sure Oakland doesn't want to show their hand either.
Yeah, I mean if the Broncos aren't showing their hand, then
was that the issue with the Niners?
Yeah. Keeping things to themselves. I like
close
it.
The chest. All right.
You're still, I'm not dissing Victor Cruz's ability. He's drafting in the 4th round. That's fine. He's the number 1 wide receiver, and he's good to go. I think he'll do a better job this year with this new West Coast offense, which also means one of my sleepers, Ruben Randall, who's drafted in the 12th round. I love him. I just love Ruben Randall. I don't know what it is about him, but I'm totally into him. It's my woman intuition thing going on with him. Maybe it's the Ruben name. Yeah. I just love him. Rashad Jennings is a sure bet, so don't worry about him. And then, I don't know, Brian, have you heard this Andre Williams, Rex Ryan thing going on?
No, but I love it already.
So Andre Williams is like, New York Giants are the real New York team. And so Rex Ryan tweets him back or whatever it was. See you Friday, Mr. Williams. # Jet Life with like 3 E's. It's just like, oh, it just is so good. I just love Rex Ryan. It has nothing to do with the Giants, but you are my favorite. Especially coming with Andre Williams, who's a backup, but whatever, it's fine, it's fun. Don't do not draft Eli Manning. I don't get it. It's going in the 15th round. I don't get it.
What happened?
He is the 21st quarterback. Like, I just wouldn't draft a backup quarterback. I know we say draft a backup quarterback, but if Eli Manning is your only option at this point, I would wait until one of the rookies becomes a starter and draft them. And
you should draft Geno Smith. I'll get into that, but if you have the choice between Geno Smith and Eli Manning, at least Geno Smith has some 20-point games under his belt.
It's a perfect leeway to get into the Jets. I like it.
Except for I want to just reemphasize that Rashad Jennings is amazing.
Amazing. Sure bet. I love him. Yeah, I think he is the bright light in the Giants' playbook that we have yet to see clearly.
And then Andre Williams. Another nice little light. I have to actually do an interview where, for some reason, I'm being interviewed about the New York Giants tomorrow on Razzball. And I'm nervous because I'm afraid I'm going to lose friends. And I live in New York. And I live in New York. And actually one of my coworkers was like, you do know where you are, right? And I was like, So hopefully I don't get run out of town. But let me get run out of town about the Jets. So I typed in New York Jets sleepers into Google. And then when the results popped up, they asked me if I meant to type New York Jets slippers. And
oh, that's amazing.
I laughed about that for a minute. Chris Johnson. Okay, listen. I'm not here to debate Chris Johnson's abilities. Do I think he'll ever be CJ2K again? No, I don't think so. That was a huge feat. And you know what? The highest rusher last year only had 1,607 yards. It was LaShawn McCoy, and he's amazing. So it was an amazing thing that he did. But what I can tell you is that the Jets want to use him a lot. And that's all I needed to know. And he's going late enough where that's enough for me.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
You can decide what you want to do for yourself. And that's fine. But that's what's going to happen.
But her fantasy football loves Chris Johnson. Can we just say it out loud?
I think he
can be frustrating.
He's frustrating.
For sure.
2012 Chris Johnson made me cry.
Yeah.
But 2013 Chris Johnson was a nice surprise.
It was happier.
And
yeah.
2014 Chris Johnson's going low enough where I'm like, yes, I will take you.
Yep.
And first preseason game, 4 rushes for 2 yards. Not great, but it involved a touchdown. And then he had 2 receptions for 16 yards. So, okay, that's fine. Second preseason game, 10 rushes for 63 yards, 2 receptions for 1 yard. Fine. They're using him sparingly at the beginning. That's still more than most people that have played the total of the 2 games. So just, I don't hate him like other people. Use him sparingly. He's great. On the same note, Eric Decker. I don't understand the fear. He sat out the second preseason game against the Bengals, but because due to a little minor injury, but he's fine. He's back at practice. Everything's fine. They're just being safe with him because they love him there. They love him there. But against Indianapolis, he was 2 for 2 for 12 yards. He's a starter, and if Geno Smith can continue to improve, Decker's going to be better than his ADP. He's 76 overall, according to FantasyPros.com. So he's going in the 7th round. The guy's had over 1,000 yards 2 seasons in a row. Okay, I'll take him. I'm getting him in a lot of leagues, actually, which is weird. But when he goes that low, I just can't help myself. Speaking of, Geno Smith, hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out.
I was about to say that's what his wife says.
Yeah. Okay, if you play in a 2-quarterback league, you're going to love this guy. And you know what? Right now, so my whole problem, remember, I don't know if you listened to the last show, but if you did, his completion percentage was terrible last year. Right now, he's at 70% completion rate in the preseason. He's actually playing pretty decent. And last year, with a terrible completion rate, he still had 5 games over 20 fantasy points.
Yeah.
Not bad for a rookie.
No.
You guys, I just feel like if he can continue this completion rate, he's going to have some great games. And I think he's really got some potential. It's hard to say, but it's true. Okay, Daryl Richardson also. If Ivory can't stay healthy, we'll get into that. Richardson could be the guy and could be the actual handcuff. Jeremy Curley, deep leagues only. He was the #1 receiver for the Jets last year with 523 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not good enough, but could be good enough on a good matchup week if you have a bye week problem. So just someone to target. He's not getting drafted in almost any leagues at all, but he's someone to just keep your eye on. And Clyde Gates is having a good preseason, actually. He's 3 for 5 for 34 yards and a touchdown, but people really like him. It's a little weird. So just keep him on your radar. And the Jets' defense, they're great against the run. Dalton picked them apart, but Dalton maybe isn't so crappy after all. We'll get into him later, but he's kind of cool. And then bench, Michael Vick. Gino has the job. Stop it. That's the analysis. Chris Ivory can't stay healthy. Literally. Bruised ribs, first preseason game. Couldn't play the second. It's the same story. Don't. Jason Morrow and Zach Sudfeld, the tight ends. You don't draft any tight end from the Jets. If you do, call me, and I'll smack you upside the head. Don't do it. That's my Jets analysis.
Boom.
Dress rehearsal.
Boom. Drop the mic. Drop the mic. We'll move on to the Oakland Raiders at the Green Bay Packers. Woo!
It's going to be a close game. It's going to be
Woo!
close.
I come over to my parents' house to record because I have 2 small children and I can't get away from their screaming and whatever. And before I came down to record, our dad goes, "Is this going to be the first year where nobody drafts an Oakland Raider?" It's very possible, Dad. It's very possible.
Actually, yeah.
It's true. It's
that's
true.
funny, Dad.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
really good.
Dad. Good one. But it's kind of true. There's no starters.
No.
Not just for the Oakland Raiders, for your fantasy team. Sleepers, I guess. Maurice Jones-Drew is going a lot higher than Darren McFadden. We all know Darren McFadden is injury prone. Maurice Jones-Drew might have a decent year. It's not going to be the best, but it might actually not be bad. He's going 89, which means the 8th round. But if he's still available, even lower than that, I would be okay getting him as my 3rd running back, 4th running back scenario. James Jones, I guess, is kind of a sleeper. If you're going to get a wide receiver off the Oakland Raiders, he's the one. But I don't know if he's really having great chemistry with Oakland Raiders coaches or not. It's kind of a weird situation. That's all I have to say about the Raiders. I don't want to bore you with them.
We only spent a lot of time on them.
In general,
I think we just spent too much time on them.
Yeah, seriously. I just wanted to hear my own voice because that was basically my only moment. There we go. Moving on to a good team, the Packers.
Quick question, though, not to belabor the point. What about their defense?
No.
Okay. Well,
But this is my feeling about their
tried.
defense. They're going against the Broncos twice. They're going against the Chargers twice. The Chiefs twice. I mean, those teams are great offensive teams. Okay, now you're going to go against really good defensive teams. San Francisco, Seattle. It just, to me, they are building themselves to maybe be decent. Not this year. This year they'll be maybe better than last, but not great. No.
Carney's saying just don't draft a Raider. That's what she's saying.
Okay. I just thought we could give them a chance, and I think we did. So no one can complain to us on Twitter.
We talked about him.
Yes, we did. We did a great job.
Paid for that.
Green Bay Packers, on the other hand, just a stud farm. It's weird, right?
It's a serious fantasy football orgy going on in cheese country.
It's they're like the Chippendales of fantasy football.
Oh,
they just keep coming out.
I like
shirtless.
that.
Yeah, it's weird. I love it. Aaron Rodgers. I actually typed out the sentence, "Stud muffins start here." I don't know what it means, but it's where I guess that's what I felt at the time.
It's true.
He has an 84.6% completion rating, and what's really weird is that it actually doesn't go down much during regular season for him. So there's that. Tuesday at camp or what have you, he played a little bit of wide receiver in practice. So he literally can do anything. It's a little bizarre.
Like legitimately, or like
yeah,
just
they had him
like,
line up outside,
Eagles.
and he ran wide receiver routes.
It must be the yoga.
So,
It must be.
and Olivia Munn.
Yeah.
Nothing's wrong with this guy's life. So, just a reminder, elite is elite. If you can't get the big three quarterbacks, I could understand you waiting. But if you're drafting someone like Giovanni Bernard above Aaron Rodgers, you need to check for yourself. That's all I'm saying. Check yourself. I know it's popular to wait on your quarterbacks, and I'm okay with that, but let's just, you guys, elite. Eddie Lacy, great. He's like one minor step down from the ultimate stud status of our top four guys, but he's right there. Also, I just want to let you know, he accounted for 47 of the 87 yards of the opening touchdown drive in the preseason game against the Rams. He's just doing it all by himself, even with Aaron Rodgers in there, which is great. Beast mode 2? I don't know.
He's our bowling ball. That's what we call him.
Yeah, he's amazing. Draft early and often. Jordy Nelson, he tweaked his hamstrings, so they were not pushing him in the preseason. That's fine. But supposedly during camp, he's been amazing. He is amazing. If he got 1,314 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns, while Aaron Rodgers was out for 7 games. It's a minor miracle. He's stud.
Don't let that baby face fool you, people. Don't let it.
He's good.
He's good.
He's 29.
He's got
age appropriate.
He's got a baby face.
Yeah. Randall Cobb. So there was some odd reports from camp. There was some odd reports at camp that he was not looking great, but he's obviously a key player. Just hope for health. He's 3 for 3 for 34 yards and a touchdown. Just
looks good to me.
We're done. Sleepers. James Starks. Looks great in the preseason. The ultimate handcuff. If ever anything happens to Eddie Lacy, he is a must-start, plug-in, amazing player.
Yeah.
I would draft him before I would draft D'Angelo Williams or some sort of like middling running back that I would never play. Certainly before Jonathan Stewart. But this is where you kind of have to strategize. Like, do you want to handcuff?
Never draft Jonathan Stewart.
Never. But, you know, do you want to have a handcuff or do you want to have a guy that's, like, kind of safe-ish? And I feel like handcuffs maybe are the way to go. Even if you don't draft Eddie Lacy, if something were to happen, you could trade him to the guy who drafted Eddie Lacy.
Right.
Yeah.
Putting that out there. Or you could play him yourself because you bombed on someone.
But Stark still gets touches, though. So it's not like he's a pure handcuff where he never gets in the game. Like, he still gets in the game.
Absolutely. There are 2 guys vying for the number 3 wide receiver spot, and that person's valuable, especially in deep leagues, and that would be Jarrett Boykin and Devontae Adams. And they're really kind of neck and neck, 4 for 3 for 21 yards, 5 for 7 for 52 yards. Keep your eye out. That's something you need to watch in Game 3. Who's going to be the number 3 guy? Because Aaron Rodgers does use his number 3 wide receiver, and he uses them often. It seems like Boykin might have a little bit of an edge, but some people have been talking about this Devontae Adams guy. In fact, in the draft that I just did on Monday night, someone drafted both of them and literally is just going to drop someone this week. I found that fascinating. It's like, deep strategy. There's been a little bit of talk about Jeff Janis as a wide receiver. He's got some buzz. He's only draftable if you're in a 16-team, way deep, crazy league. Otherwise, no. 1 for 1 for 34 yards and a touchdown. That's nice, but it's 1 pass. So let's just
preseason, 4th quarter. It's fine.
Right. Let's just stop. And then do not draft a tight end from this team. I wasn't stealing. I wrote this on my own. Literally, they're all bad. Stop it.
You know, there's just some amazing offenses that just don't use their tight ends, and that's okay. Not everybody has Julius and Rob Gronkowski and Jimmy Graham as their offense, you know. So you just need to like overlook the fact, oh, he's the number 1 tight end on the team. That doesn't mean anything. So is Kobe Fleener, people.
True story.
Oh, yeah. I made the mistake of leaning on that guy.
But last year he had like 3 really good games, and then it was just like,
well, we'll see.
No production.
We'll see who's going to pull out the start. Oh, gosh, starters, Brandon. Oh, here we go. This one's going to be a long one. Chicago Bears at Seattle Seahawks.
I'm going to plug through this because if you've ever listened to the show, you are aware the Chicago Bears and I have a really dirty relationship.
That's her home team.
If I could live in Mark Trestman's world, I would. I love him. I love everything about this team, and so should you. What I will tell you very quickly, because I'm not going to waste my time, you know to draft them as quickly as possible. But I will tell you, Jay Cutler is rocking the preseason. 72.7% completion rate, 16 completions for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. He throws the ball to Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey, Matt Forte, Martellus Bennett. The floor for the potential, like the worst he can do, is so high, you must draft him. And I literally tweeted out today, I was like, listen, I'm done. I am bumping up Andy Dalton, Phillip Rivers, and Jay Cutler because I'm done pretending that I don't think that they're badasses. And I stand by that. I stand by it. Moving it up. It's crazy town what's going on over there. Matt Forte, whatever. You know I love him. He's not really doing much in this preseason because he doesn't have to. He's the one guy that they need to save because he's actually had too many touches last year. They need to make sure that he's okay. What I will say is that to watch in Game 3, so everyone thought this Kadeem Carey guy was definitely his handcuff. Ends up it might be Sean Drawn. Do you remember this guy? He's kind of always been the backup of the century. But anyway, he's having a really great preseason. So keep your eye open as to who plays behind Matt Forte. That guy is an important fantasy player. I will say, so let me just tell you what's going on here. Brandon Marshall had 8 targets, 6 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown. Alshon Jeffrey had 3 targets for 3 catches for 40 yards. That's the ratio you're going to have to get used to. Alshon Jeffrey will get half the amount of targets, but less than half, actually.
Yeah.
Half the amount of catches, but the same amount or more yards. And if it's a touchdown, he's going to go for Brandon Marshall. So just understand that's how it works. You're still going to love having Alshon Jeffrey, but let's not pretend they're close to the same guy. They're just not. They're just not. Brandon Marshall is the main guy. Alshon Jeffrey is the number 2 guy, and that's cool. That's cool. It's the way it is. You're going to be happy with either of them. But I just wanted to point that out just so we all accept it. Sleepers. Martellus Bennett. We don't have him in the top 10 because, frankly, I don't know. As long as he doesn't pick up cornerbacks and throw them into the ground like he did in practice, he'll be fine. He's in the Mark Trestman offense. He's going to be worth something. Bench. The Bears did one thing I don't agree with. They signed Santonio Holmes. So that. Don't ever draft Santonio Holmes, in case you were wondering if there was ever any debate. So don't do that. And also their defense is still a problem. They kind of got carved up by the Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars are better than we thought they were, but it's a little troublesome. So that happened. Seattle. Okay. I just want to make a quick note here. Marshawn Lynch did not have any assault charges. So that's a non-existent story. Wipe it from your memory. It never happened. Actually, there are no details on it. It's a very weird thing. But anyway, he's barely playing the preseason, but he's a stud. Keep it. Seattle defense. Keep it. Russell Wilson. He's actually looking the best he's ever looked, you guys. Can I get a what?
What?
You will not get a what from me.
Okay.
You know I dislike him so much.
I was afraid you guys had tapped out. You guys were like, I don't know, she's talking about our Bears. We're done. So I wanted to get a what. But
I mean,
15, yeah, I know. I hear you. He's 15 for 19 for 78.9 completion rate. So that's good. It's for 158 yards. that's okay. But anyway, here's what I don't like. In the few snaps that he's had, he's been sacked 3 times. Out of all of the actual declared starters in the league, only Eli Manning and Alex Smith have been sacked for the same amount of times. So, or more.
Concerning.
And she was the same as 3. But I don't like that. So their line is a problem. Robert Turbin is the handcuff. I like him. He's averaging 5.4 yards per carry. That's great. So I'm into him. I think he's going to be the handcuff over Christian Michael, but that's something to watch. And Doug Baldwin is someone you don't even have to draft because he keeps just staying on the waiver wires. So, hey. And finally, Percy Harvin is down to where I might draft him. It's 57 overall. I don't even know. I'd wait longer than that, actually.
Yeah.
But he's in the sleepers for me because that's where he should be. He's 4 for 5 for 31 yards. That's not good enough. P.S. There have been no receiving touchdowns in Seattle in the preseason. And on
I'm
the
not
bench,
surprised.
all tight ends. There's a theme. I'm sorry. When you have Zach Miller and Luke Wilson and there's this no leader, it's just, yeah. So anyway, those are my 2 teams. Got
She's
that
done.
Boom.
On to the Bucks.
Shazam.
On to the Bucks, guys.
On to the Bucks.
So I only have one starter.
Bump him
on this
up.
team.
Huh?
Bump who up?
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut in. My internet is going in and out. I apologize. I had moved at Miami Dolphins. Are we there?
I believe we're at the Bucks and the Bills.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bucks and the Bills. I
Yeah.
just went right past them. Sorry, Ashley.
Yeah, no. I understand
You
why.
might be tempted to do that. Yeah.
Super exciting game. I get why you completely want to just skip over it. But
Bring
I'll
it
be
back.
quick. I'll be quick with the Bucks. I'll be quick. So, again, my only starter is Vincent Jackson. His ADP is 11. That's about where he should be. And he's by far and away their top receiver. And he scored a touchdown last week, which is always a good sign that he's still going to be the workhorse in the air. So I like him a lot. Mike Evans is someone I have in a sleeper category. I like him. He's kind of vying for that 2 to 3 wide receiver position right now, so keep your eye on him. I think he's going to have more value mid-season because, he's a rookie. So, I think he's not as valuable right now, but I think he could have some really great value towards the end of the season. So I would keep an eye on him for that role. He's not going to be someone stepping in right now for the first few games. It's just not going to happen for you. Josh McCown's looking pretty good as well. He's a real leader on the team. What I want to get to right now is Doug Martin. I have him on the bench, which I know is weird because his ADP is 12 and he's a top running back. And the only reason I'm going to say he's on the bench is you still have to draft this guy, but he's such a slow starter. Like, crazy slow. And he had 6 rushes for only 24 yards last week. 4 yards per carry. It's not awful. It's not great. And they just lost Charles Sims. And so what's interesting is that Bobby Rainey I have in the sleeper category, again, for more later round value because I think they're going to use him a bit. And if Doug Martin isn't able to kind of step up the game, he looks good. I'll say that. Like, he's looking better. He's looking healthy. He's looking strong. But I'm just nervous.
Their offensive line is not good. No
Not
one's talking
good.
about it. Josh McCown's been sacked numerous times.
It's not good. It's not good. So I guess I'm just nervous that he's not producing in the beginning part here. So I like the idea of Bobby Rainey again in case he gets hurt. And Bobby Rainey is out completely the second to position right now because Charles Sims was out. They were kind of going back and forth between who was actually the backup. It's Bobby Rainey. Don't even think twice about it. He is the handcuff. He is the backup, and he plays too a little bit. So he doesn't. You don't have to wait for Doug Martin to get hurt for Bobby Rainey to play. He'll play here and there. So I like him as well. It's an interesting team. The team makes me very nervous. So we'll end with that. I'm nervous for the Bucks.
2014 Super Bowl champs.
Now I think I'm switching to Jacksonville for that now.
Jacksonville, okay.
You guys, I really like Jacksonville. If Blake Bortles can get I'm talking crazy now. It's late, but
Yeah.
I mean, they will actually go Super Bowl, but they're like our crazy team, the Browns of last year.
Crazy, yeah, the Browns of last year. The Bills. So I actually started my write-up with, I think we may need to take a pause on the Bills. There are some red flags here, bright red. So starters, none. I put none. I said, I think C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson have some potential, so let me just give you something here. Fred Jackson got more snaps, 26-12, and more touches, 13-6, than C.J. Spiller. Also, Jackson got all the third down and red zone work in 3 games in a row, I'm sorry. They actually had the Hall of Fame game as well. And then, frankly, I mean, I'm down on Spiller and up on Jackson. I mean, you can get Jackson. He's going right now at 87 ADP, whereas Spiller's going 36. This is crazy. This is scary. So just putting that out there. Sleepers. It's not really a sleeper. I'm putting, Sammy Watkins there because I think he should be a sleeper, but instead he's getting drafted too high. So it's unfortunate, but that's where I would put him. He's 3 for 6 on 21 yards, and then the second preseason, he got a minor rib contusion. But he's already back at practice, so should be fine. They'll use him. They will use him a lot, but here's the problem, people. E.J. Manuel. Ouch. Tough preseason. Ouch. The problem is the whole team is being held hostage by E.J. Manuel.
Right.
If he's not good, no one else can be good. They just can't. So until I see some product, he has a 59.6% completion percentage. So, I said percentage twice, but you know what I mean. It's that bad.
And he hasn't thrown for a touchdown.
No.
It's concerning.
He's taken the most dropbacks out of any other quarterback in the entire league. 50 in the whole preseason, and yet he only has completed 28 passes for 263 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So until he gets it together, I'm having a tough time assessing the rest of the team. And frankly, I love Robert Woods. Analysts love Robert Woods. Stats love Robert Woods. But the Bills hate Robert Woods. And I don't know what it is, but they won't start the guy. They continue to kind of bring him down. I don't understand. So until they respect him, I can't put him on my team. And I took him in some early drafts because he kept just being awesome. He's the best wide receiver in the preseason right now. He's completed 11 of his 18 targets, and this guy's throwing the ball all wonky town, right? For 129 yards and 1 touchdown. But they hate him, and I don't understand it.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom. We love the Bills.
We love our rants. We rant a lot. And it makes us fun, right?
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a rant. E.J. Manuel is a problem.
He is a problem.
Yes, I don't disagree. He's a problem.
And so is the Dallas defense. So, hey, Dolphins, let's see what you got this week. Maybe not a lot, but it's exciting. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon has put on her Dallas Cowboys sunglasses. She was in the Star City this weekend, and this last weekend she's got some bling, some Cowboys bling. She's drafting Dez Bryant with her first pick overall. That's what's happening.
Please.
Boom. Please. For me, I love Dez, DeMarco. They're going first and second rounds. They're great. They're fabulous. You're drafting them. Tony Romo, he's at 84 ADP. You can get him so late, and I think he has a great, that's a great way to get him in the 8th, 9th round. Love it. Jason Witten is their tight end. He's fine. He's not going to give you huge numbers probably this year, but he's good. And guess what? Dallas has got to air it out. It's just what they're going to have to do because their defense is so bad. There's going to be a lot of points scored on them. So, as per usual, Tony Romo's going to be throwing the ball, which kind of makes me a little bit more worried about Murray, but he does receive the ball, so hopefully it won't be an issue. He's been getting a lot of touches this I guess just to say last game. It's the first time that the three of them have played together. So my sleeper, although he's not much of a sleeper, is Terrence Williams. He's going in the 9th, 10th round. And, he's the number 2 wide receiver on the Cowboys. Again, they're an air the ball out team. So that's not that bad. I don't mind him on my squad. I'd take him. Lance Dunbar is going to be your handcuff to DeMarco Murray. I wouldn't do that. I don't suggest anybody doing that.
Oh, really? I love Lance Dunbar.
I do, but I think he's going to be on the waiver wire. I mean, unless you're in a deep league, then I do suggest getting him. But I fear that if Murray goes down, they're just going to be airing the ball out, and Dunbar is not going to see as many points as Murray's going to get. So that's my feeling on that. As I said, bench Dallas's defense. They're god-awful. They're only getting worse this preseason. So, yeah. I put Dallas defense, ADP, NA last. Don't do it. Just don't do it. So that's where I'm at.
Well, the Dolphins aren't much better.
Oh, what? Marino's not amazing?
Well, I'll get to Marino. I will get to him. But for starters, I literally wrote down in my notes, you're kidding, right?
It's true.
There's absolutely no one that you would start from the Dolphins. Sleepers, I've got Charles Clay, Brian Hartline, Mike Wallace, Ryan Tannehill.
The roster.
Here's the thing with Tannehill. So he went 9 for 14 for 110 yards last game. His ADP's 23 quarterbacks, and he's not a bad second pick. I mean, you'd be literally crazy to take Tannehill as your starting quarterback. I mean, that's purposely trying to lose a league, which I have heard of some leagues, actually, where the point is to get the fewest points possible. Have you heard of these leagues?
Yeah, I actually want to play in a bad quarterback
I'm intrigued.
league.
I'm intrigued where you literally try to pick the worst people possible.
And fun.
He's close. He's close there. But the problem is he's a boomer bust. So with the right matchup, which could be a case with Dallas, he can perform. But you have to really, he's such a matchup guy that's what makes him in a sleeper category. So again, he's not the guy you're drafting first. Look at the bye weeks for if you are drafting Tannehill as your second quarterback, and make sure that what game he'd be playing based on that bye week is a good matchup for him. Otherwise, he's a completely useless pickup for you. So check your buys with Tannehill. Mike Wallace / Brian Hartline. So they're the starting wide receivers, right? But what's interesting is Wallace was targeted 3 times and was not even able to catch a ball last game. He didn't catch a single ball, which is not, I know, surprising to most people. If you've ever had either of these guys, they're extremely frustrating to be on your fantasy team. That's an understatement. But interestingly enough, Rashard Matthews, Brandon Gibson, Jarvis Landry, and Damian Williams all had much better performances. And these are the guys that are kind of vying for the number 2 and 3 spots here. And, Williams had 3 receptions for 46 yards. Matthews had 3 receptions for 43 yards. Gibson had 2 catches for 28. And the starters aren't even catching balls. I don't get it. But something to think about is that they're just, just don't go there. Or get them really late. Like Heartland's 56, okay. Get them in that 8th, 9th round. You can feel okay about it being on your bench. But these are not your starting guys. Just because they're starters on the Dolphins does not make them a starter on your fantasy team. But now we'll get to my rant, because we're talking Lamar Miller and Knowshon Moreno here. So Knowshon hasn't played yet, right? Knowshon has not played. He did come to practice, though. So he's practicing, which is good. He's been seen there. It was funny. He's like, yeah, I've just been kind of chilling with Pouncey. We've just been kind of, doing stuff. I'm like, oh, at least you're hanging out with a teammate. But I'd like to see you on the field.
Recently?
He is not, to my knowledge. But the whole Dolphins need help with rushing. Again, terrible offensive line. They had -5 rushing yards in total last week. -5. And Lamar Miller had 3 carries. For guess how many yards, guys? 3. 3 yards on 3 carries. We are averaging 1 yard a carry. And I actually
really good offensive line.
So I had Googled, like, I was Googling Lamar Miller, and I actually saw somebody say, Lamar Miller is such a great flyer pick. And I'm like, are you joking? You're kidding, right? Lamar Miller should not be remotely a flyer for you. I want to say that right now. No. And in fact, they're even saying that there's a really good chance, that, which I've been saying since forever now, that No. Sean will be the starting back rather quickly in the games here. I mean, he's just got more upside than Lamar Miller. I'm not saying that he's, like, fantastic, but he's way better than Lamar Miller. So do not pick Lamar Miller up and think that he's going to be the starting running back the whole season, or think you're going to get anything productive out of him. You're going to get 1 yard per carry. Enjoy. Have fun with him, because I'm not going to waste my time on it.
Agreed.
Done. Rant over.
Love it. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
We're benching them. Thank you. Benched.
We are. Benched. Both are benched.
Tennessee Titans and Atlanta Falcons. Ashley.
Again, a really boring matchup, huh, guys?
It's really good.
Really can be quick.
So, this one's going to be really, really quick. So, I've got Delaney Walker on the bench. Locker just really hasn't been throwing the ball his way much, so I don't really love I don't love him as much as I was hoping I would love Delaney Walker. He's just not going to be incorporated into plays as much as he should. Jake Locker, though, is kind of an interesting little sleeper pick, potentially. Again, a matchup guy. He's playing pretty well. He had 2 touchdown passes to Justin Hunter in last week's game against the Saints. Kendall Wright is another person that I have on my starting list. I've got Kendall Wright and Justin Hunter. So I feel good about both of those guys. And Jake Locker would be another good second person to pick. Again, he's not a starter because there's just too many better quarterback options out there. But he's someone to consider for your second quarterback. So that's all I'm going to spend on the Titans because, again, they're kind of in Oakland and a waste of time. Falcons, our starters, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Roddy White. Julio! Love him.
Pretty.
Julio's looking good. Roddy White's being used. There's no surprise there. Harry Douglas hasn't been used as much. He's one of my sleepers, but I think he will be used a bit more in the actual season. And I have Devin Hester as well, which I'm not sure people even are really aware that he's on the Falcons now. But he is the return guy, and he is the number 4 wide receiver. So what I want you to think about with him is look at your settings, because Devin Hester is historically, will probably go in the Hall of Fame as one of the best returners in the game of all time.
Agreed.
So if you have a league where that wide receiver does get points for returns, that skyrockets his value infinitely. So look at your settings. If you are one of those people, do consider Devin Hester because he is their return guy right now. So this isn't a team where they really switch up who's doing the returns. He's their guy, and he's good, and he's going to be at least good for 1 touchdown run back. That's this year, guarantee it. So think about him as a sleeper. On my bench is going to tie in. So my last sleeper is going to be Devontae Freeman. It's going to tie into my bench because on my bench is Steven Jackson. I know, Sam, but it's just, he's still out with a hamstring injury. He's allegedly supposed to be ready by the season opener, but he's injury prone. He's older. He didn't do well last year. He and Jacquizz Rodgers both were below 30 for total fantasy point value last year out of all the running backs. They weren't even a top 3 back in their starters. But Devontae Freeman scored a touchdown, which is good. He's looking pretty decent, and he may actually get some looks, especially in a receiving fashion. So to me, you're not drafting him high. You could get him incredibly low. His ADP was 47 out of all the running backs. So, if you get him low, feel okay about it. Don't think you're going to play him as in any sort of flex or into a running back position. But he's got some spark. He's the only spark for me on the running team there. So it's a rough situation with the running because again the offensive line is just kind of subpar for the Falcons. So,
boom. Washington Redskins at Baltimore Ravens.
I'm just going to keep talking. It's bad when the Redskins looked good last week.
Oh,
right? They looked good because Cleveland made them look good. But with that said, I'm liking the Redskins. I'm liking them. My starters, there's actually a lot of starters for this team for me. Pierre Garçon.
Love him.
Deshaun Jackson.
Boom.
Looking good. Alfred Morris did have a fumble, but I think that was probably more RG3's fault than Alfred Morris's fault. It was a weird
Really?
handoff. It was like a weird, like, really?
Ashley. Courtney's like, no.
Yeah. So I like Alfred. He gets a lot of touches. I like him a lot. They do absolutely need to actually factor him in to a receiving a bit more. Like the guy doesn't catch any balls ever. It's really odd. It's really weird because I feel like every back now, to some sense, is used as a receiver in a lot of packages, and they just don't do that with Alfred Morris. And they need to. They really, really need to. I've got Robert Griffin as a starter.
Boom.
Boom. ADP is 8. But he's looking better, and I think he's a guy that won't be fantastic out of the gate, but I think probably by game week 3 or 4, he'll be a bit more into a groove.
This is my feeling with him, is that he has all the weapons in the world to have a great year this year. And if he doesn't, Kirk Cousins, people.
No.
It's like Courtney has this weird love for Kirk Cousins, I find very funny. But RG3, he actually looked pretty good. Like, he was throwing some good passes last week.
He looked sloppy. I thought he looked sloppy. And, his, faux slides.
Well,
so bad at sliding. He's the worst.
Let's compare. Well, he's not used to sliding. He's one of those guys who just, run into it, and you can't do that anymore until you get hurt.
Right.
But they were using Jordan Reed quite a bit as well, so I liked seeing that. I have Jordan Reed as a must-start tight end because we basically tell you every team not to start anyone that's a tight end, so you have to start someone. So might as well be Jordan Reed, right?
I guess.
If you got a low pick. I like him. My sleepers are Andre Roberts and Ryan Grant. So I'm really happy to see they're actually using Andre Roberts. He had a really great deep ball catch. He looked great. And Ryan Grant had a lot of action as well. So Ryan Grant's not even getting drafted at all. So you probably can just pick him up off the waivers. But what I want to tell you is to keep an eye on him and Andre Roberts. Andre Roberts, I think, will end up going. So you're going to have to draft him, but you can draft him low. We're talking 10th, 12th round probably. So, but keep an eye on him. And I don't have anybody on the bench, actually, other than their defense. Their defense is pretty poor. But the rest are, you're good to go.
Good to go.
Good to go.
Good.
Great.
I like it. The Ravens. Torrey Smith going in the 6th round. I'll take it. If that's where he's going, why not? And maybe sometimes in the 7th and 8th round. Okay. He looks good this preseason. Flacco looks decent throwing the ball to him, so.
Agreed.
I'm usually down on the Ravens, but I'm okay with this. Ray Rice, not drafting him. Moving on. Dennis Pitta. Now, people love him. That's great, and that's fine. Whatever. It's hard. I'm not convinced. But if you're not afraid, then do it. Because again, tight ends are very hard to come by. So Pitta it up. Pitta it up. I don't like talking about kickers, but Justin Tucker, great name, great kicker. Just do it. My sleepers, Bernard Pierce. You guys, it is a race for starting running back, supposedly. And
Interesting.
Ray Rice isn't necessarily going to be the starter. Now, obviously, Bernard Pierce is going to start the first 2 games because Ray Rice got some BS suspension. So he should have been starting for 12 games, but whatever. So supposedly there's a competition going on for starting running back, and I like it. I'm into it. Go
Pierce looks
Pierce.
good.
He looks good.
It does look good.
He looks really good.
I do want to point out that there are some leagues taking a stance where they all agree before the draft even happens to not draft Ray Rice.
I'm in 2 leagues that did that.
I think that's something that if you guys want to consider, just throwing it out there, that people are doing it. So
Actually, we threw it out there
I like
last
the
week,
idea.
and I appreciate you trying to take the credit for it. Ray Rice, you're going down.
I'm taking the credit for it. I think people are doing it. This is my idea.
Bench, although I'm starting to turn around, is Joe Flacco. He's going to be better this year. I'm in
a 2-quarterback league, and I got Andrew Luck as my first one. My second one was Joe Flacco, and my third one was Jake Locker, and I felt pretty good about that. I was like, I can switch them out for matchups. I was like, I think these two guys actually have decent chances of being decent.
Absolutely.
I used decent twice on purpose.
Hey.
Total mediocrity, but that's better than bad.
So I'm really excited to watch this Pierce first 2 games of the season. I really hope that he is amazing. So there's my heart. My heart's with Pierce. So there we go. We'll move on from the Ravens. New Orleans Saints and the Indianapolis Colts.
Great. This is actually really easy. Drew Brees, stud muffin. Stop it. Just do it. He had an oblique injury. He's fine. He's back at practice. Everything's fine. Jimmy Graham. He's great. The only interesting thing of note is that he keeps dunking on the goalposts in protest, but supposedly he'll stop doing it in week 1, but Sean Payton's getting really ticked. So it's actually kind of entertaining. But the good news is that he keeps scoring touchdowns, so draft accordingly. Sleepers, Brandon Cooks. Not bad, people. Not great either. 6 for 12, that's 50%. But it is for 71 yards and a touchdown. He's rookie, he's learning. But he has double the amount of targets than any other receiver on the team, including Colston, who only has 3 targets. So that's something to think about. PPR only, Pierre Thomas. He hasn't rushed at all during the preseason, but he is 3 for 3 on passes for 27 yards. I don't feel comfortable drafting him at all, but if you are going to draft him, it's only PPR, only if you're desperate, break glass if dying. Bench. I literally don't like anyone else on this team. Literally. Kerry Robinson and Mark Ingram are supposedly splitting whatever. Guys, I can't draft Mark Ingram. And Kerry Robinson's a rookie. I'm sure he's fine, but I just can't with him either. It's very difficult to draft any of these people. And Marcus Colston only has, 2 completions for 10 yards. I need to see more in Game 3 before I can put him anywhere other than on the bench.
Boom. I like it. That's good. It's kind of a similar situation with the Colts where I feel like Trent Richardson's on my bench. We're having a messy divorce. He's really bad, right? I mean, really bad. He is averaging 2.4 yards per carry this preseason, which is even lower than his average from last year, which was 2.9, which is also really bad. So this could be the same replay of 2013, just throwing that out there. Who you are going to start is Andrew Luck, the husband. Love him.
He really is borderline husband, isn't he?
He is my husband. I want him. I love him. I just feel really good about everything that he has going on, including the pickup of Hakeem Nicks this year. He's going in the 13th round, 14th round. I want him to call my number. I want to have a relationship with him. I want it to be serious. I'm into it. It changes up the whole dynamic of the Colts. I'm into it. T.Y. Hilton, Reggie Wayne. Reggie Wayne might be 35 years old. That's crazy. I can't believe we're talking like he's getting drafted in the 8th round and he's 35 years old. But he's good. Yep. He's just good, guys. He just is good. Love it. Easy schedule. It's going to be fabulous. Again, it's tight ends. We're going to stay away from the Colts tight ends.
Shocking.
St. Louis Rams at the Cleveland Browns.
So selfishly, I'm going to make this Rams analysis incredibly short because I'm just so excited to get to the Browns. Not even cover the team, but I just, Zach Stacy's he's a given. You absolutely have to draft Zach Stacy. He's a starter. He is a husband, a boyfriend, if you will, whatever. Either way, you're playing him. Bench, I'm benching Jared Cook.
Always.
There's just some players you should never draft, and Jared Cook is one of them. But interesting enough, so Jared Cook is the starting tight end, but on my sleepers, I have a guy named Lance Kendricks, who is the backup tight end.
He had better stats than Cook
most
of the time last year.
Yeah. Yes, and last year he was even kind of a little bit iffy, But he had 11-yard touchdown pass the last game. He and Bradford were connecting really well. Bradford had a good game. He went 9 for 12 for 101 yards and a touchdown. And Bradford, he's looking pretty good. And Bradford actually, so he's going pretty low, and you can get really great value for him because his issue is he's been a little bit injury prone. But if he could stay healthy, he has a potential to probably fall in that like maybe even top 12 quarterback range. I'm not going to say top 10. I won't go that far. But I think he could be like a top 12 quarterback, which would make him a really, really valuable second quarterback, especially if you're in a league where you can play quarterbacks in a flex, or if you're in a situation where you got a 2-quarterback league or whatnot. I like Bradford a lot. But Kendricks, I think, they might actually use him a bit more, and I wouldn't be surprised if he surpassed Jared Cook by midseason. He's just a more dynamic player. He's got much more upside than Jared Cook. You're always going to be disappointed with Jared Cook, so just don't go there.
Agreed.
Now let's get to the Browns.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about the fact that the Browns finally, officially, again, claimed that Hoyer is the starter of the Cleveland Browns. You guys, like this, I'm sorry, a month ago we were talking about how the Browns have already declared their starter. I don't understand what we're talking about. Ends up they had to do it again. That's what happened. And after, of course, Manziel decided to flip off the Washington Redskins and on their sideline. And supposedly the thing that set them off was that one guy said, or that multiple guys said that this isn't college anymore, they're faster than you, which I'm like, if you can't take that, then I just can't with you. I think it's interesting that you're fascinated about talking about the Browns. I have a difficult time talking about them because there's literally nothing coming out of that camp other than this Johnny Manziel madness. I'm not even quite sure what's going on with the Josh Gordon stuff. I mean, that's what I'm more interested in.
But what's been interesting is that a lot of people are confused as to why Josh Gordon's even playing, and I kind of have to agree that, I mean, part of preseason is getting into a flow of things, getting into the rhythm, and if you know you're not going to have Josh Gordon for at least the majority of the season, if not all of it, then you probably shouldn't be giving it quite as much playing time as you are. And I'm intrigued again by the Manziel because he flipped somebody off, but I will say, because we seem to be a semi-Manziel hating podcast.
I'm calling it realism, but okay.
But Hoyer was not doing himself any favors. Like, he was not looking good in the preseason games. No, I would even agree that him and Manziel looked pretty evenly matched, and I could see the argument of then going with the younger guy because he just needs those reps for practice. But how can you start somebody who's flipping off other teams? This is supposed to be, you know, the leader of your team. He's showing such an incredible amount of immaturity. You know, I mean, this is Johnny football. That is Johnny football right there. So until he can get that, I mean, he gave no other choice but to start Hoyer. I mean, like, he had a legitimate shot, and he literally gave the team no choice. So what I'll be intrigued is if they're really going to start Hoyer, and then like midway or a few games, and they'll switch it up to Manziel. I hope not, because they clearly showed problems with their offense because the snap counts are completely different. They're, you know, the way they actually run the line is different, and the entire offense is struggling because of it. They need to pick one and stick with it, and I hope they actually stick with Hoyer.
I feel sad for the Browns. I just think they're just such a PR disaster.
It's a nightmare.
It's just kind of sad. And you know, you don't even get to enjoy the other team that they're playing against because when the other team's offense is on the field, they're still talking about what Manziel's going to do when he gets back on the field. You know, and it's just like, it's always the Manziel football game. It's not, you know, and it's obnoxious. You know, people just, including us, we just need to get off of this. Let's just, like, move on.
I will say
I have nothing to say about them at all, which, by the way, I actually cover this team, and I literally did not do a write-up for them because, to me, there's nothing to say.
Although, you should talk about Jordan Cameron, because I'm a little nervous. I mean, he had some balls in his hands that he was dropping. Granted, he had some passes thrown behind him and whatnot, but his value might drop if I don't see anything productive next week.
I agree. I'd like to discuss, though, Ben Tate, because actually he's someone you should draft. He's the only person you should draft on this team. I want you to hear that one more time. Ben Tate is the only person you should draft on this team. There was some talk about Terrence West. He's fine. He's the handcuff. He's great, actually. But Ben Tate is the starting running back, and he looks great. And congratulations, Ben Tate. You are the only Cleveland Brown who got out of this alive. Congratulations. The only other people is actually the Browns' defense. Browns' defense, not messing around. By the way, I want Hayden to be my new best friend. And if he's not, I'm going to cry. So my sleeper is Terrence West, just because Ben Tate has yet to play a full season, literally. So that's something to think about. And then literally everyone else is on the bench, and I'm saying including Jordan Cameron, who is 0 for 3. Why? Because the passes are heinous from both Menzel and Hoyer. I'm literally going to take him out of the category that he's in and put him in the one below in our tiered rankings. It's that bad.
It's that bad. Boom.
It is
That's it. That's all I have to say about the Browns. And you know what? Until I see something else, that's probably all I'm going to say all season. It's bad. It's really bad, you guys. I saw it. It's bad.
Love it.
Bad.
Minnesota Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Vikings don't look that bad.
They look great.
They look
Matt
great.
Castle is the second highest rated quarterback behind Jay Cutler in the preseason.
Matt Castle is?
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, he's great. He's great. And Teddy Bridgewater's pretty good too. It's kind of, it's exciting. Yeah, it's nice to see something exciting going on with the Vikings instead of just seeing AP. So, yay. Obviously, AP, you're going to draft him. Husband for life. He's great. Don't worry about him not playing preseason. He didn't last year. When they don't play, I feel more comfortable with them than when they do play and they get 2 catches for 4 yards, or whatever. It's weird. So I'm okay with that. Cordell Patterson, he looks good. He seems like he's going to be a good pick for the year. He's going kind of high for my liking, but he's the number 1 wide receiver, and they look good. They have a new offensive coordinator, and it's just an exciting team. So I'm okay with Patterson. He's a fun player. He's fun. Kyle Rudolph, he's my husband. I don't care what everybody else thinks. He's going to have a phenomenal year this year, and he's a top tight end in my opinion. Boom. Under sleepers, I have the quarterbacks. It's weird. Like, you don't know who's going to be the starter, for how long or what the deal is per se. But when they nail it down, it wouldn't be a bad pickup if your quarterback has a really off matchup and somebody else is on a bye. I like both of them. I like them. They're good. I love Castle, and Bridgewater's good too. I'm into them. I like them. And bench, pretty much everybody else. It's kind of how the Vikings go. But they're good. They're better this year. Yay.
I agree.
They are. They're better. The Chiefs. So you're starting Jamar Charles, obviously. The Kansas City defense looks good still. Everyone was kind of nervous about the D. The D still looks fantastic. I have them as a starter. My sleepers, Alex Smith. Obviously, I'm going to talk about Alex Smith. He did pretty good. He went 14 of 22 with no interceptions. He got sacked a bunch. But the offensive line didn't look as horrific as I thought they might.
Except the sacks.
It didn't look good. Yeah, but there were some plays that he actually had some decent protection. So, we'll see. Miles Davis, another sleeper of mine. I think he's going to get some play time. Dwayne Bowe I have in a sleeper category. He really should be considered like a maybe category. He had 5 catches for 62 yards, though, which is pretty decent. But he just injured his quad, so he is not practicing at the moment. Kind of problematic, so that's something to think about. But he's going pretty low. So for the value, he's not a terrible pickup. Back in the day, Dwayne Bowe was somebody that was literally like a top 15 receiver. He's not that guy anymore. So I'm glad that people are realizing this. So for where you can get him, I don't have a problem with you drafting him because you're drafting him in that kind of wide receiver 3-4 level, and that's okay because you're not banking on him to be your guy. My bench, I have Anthony Fasano.
What?
But okay,
Is he on Kansas City's bench?
he's technically the starter. This crazy town.
What? I thought it was Travis Kelce. Haven't they named him yet?
No, but I'm going to mention Travis Kelce did get a touchdown on a 43-yard play, which is a great play.
Yeah,
and
he's totally it.
I think he will be it. Technically, Fasano is still the starter. I do think that Fasano would get a little bit more looks this year than last year, if indeed he remains the starter. But I think you can probably wait on both of them. They'll probably still be there. They'll be on the waiver wire. There's no reason to draft them. But just know that I feel like there's going to be some sort of tight end controversy as far as who will actually be the starter. And I think Kelsey's got a little bit more upside than Fasano, to be honest with you.
Boom.
Yeah.
Why touchdown with a tight end when you can do it with Jamal Charles? You know, it just doesn't work. Doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. Houston Texans at the Denver Broncos.
I'm actually really excited for this game. And Houston is currently practicing with the Broncos right now. So they've been practicing all week, and then they're going to end up playing, so it should be really interesting. But my starters are DeAndre Hopkins, Andre Johnson, Arian Foster. I'm a little concerned because both Arian Foster and Andre Johnson are hurt at the moment. So that's, that's a problem. But my details. So my sleepers kind of play into the injuries we got going on here, right? So my sleepers are Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's not being drafted, which is a little bit crazy to me because he's got a lot of. I mean, he went 9 for 12 for 97 yards and had a touchdown, and he tore the Falcons apart. I mean, he dominated. He looked good, and he's still not getting drafted. So he's somebody you can think about again if you've got a multiple quarterback league. He's worth a look. I like him. Jonathan Grimes. So he's filled in right now for Arian Foster because Foster is injured, and he's looked pretty good. He ran for 42 yards on 9 carries, caught 3 passes for 25 yards. He was getting a lot of touches, and what I like about him is you could get him incredibly low, and I'm not entirely sure that Foster is going to be 100% ready and back by the season opener. So it really increases Grimes' stock a bit there, and Foster is a little bit injury prone. So he's not, if you're going to handcuff yourself, he's a good handcuff because of Foster's kind of historical injury proneness. So I like him. I also like, I'm not going to say the name right.
Proneness.
Proneness, not even really a word, but whatever.
I like it.
Devere Posey, is that how I say it? I don't know. But he had an 8-yard touchdown at the end of the second quarter. He's someone to think about because he's getting more play because of Andre Johnson. Again, I'm not entirely sure Andre Johnson will be ready again by the season opener. I don't believe either are expected to play this third game, so it's something to consider as well, especially for the beginning of the season. So you can get him crazy low, so it'll be good value. You won't be playing him by mid-season because the other guys will be back and healthy, but he's someone for the beginning of the season to think about in a deep league. So my bench is Garrett Graham for obvious reasons. He's not a tight end that scores at all. I think we have him ranked 23rd or something. Just don't go there. Don't do it. On to the Broncos. So, op situation, you're starting everybody. Peyton Manning's obviously Peyton Manning.
They're on fire!
So, he's going first of all the quarterbacks. Demaryius Thomas is going second of all the wide receivers. Julius Thomas going second of all the tight ends. Wes Welker, he's kind of on that 17 range. Emmanuel Sanders is another starter. Monte Ball is another starter. You're starting, just like last season, you're starting the entire Broncos team. You just
handcuff yourself with those running backs too. Why not? They all look good.
So yeah, I have that in my sleepers with Ronnie Hillman.
Why not?
So Ball is expected he returned to practice on Tuesday, but he didn't participate in team drills, and he is a maybe for Saturday's game. My thing with Monte Ball is there's a lot of hype about Monte Ball, but Monte Ball isn't proven to be a workhorse every down back yet. So I don't have a problem with you taking Ronnie Hillman super late because Hillman looked pretty good. And I could see Hillman getting some goal line touches and being a little bit of a touchdown vulture for Monte Ball. So think about Hillman. I also, wide receiver-wise, I've got Andre Caldwell and Cody Latimer. So
It's
Latimer's
tough between those two.
It's really tough. So Latimer had like really 2 strong showings in the first 2 preseason games here. He had a 33-yard touchdown last week. Andre Caldwell, his stock's gone up a little bit because Norwood was looking fantastic, but Norwood tore his ACL in practice today, so he's out for the season. So that means that Cody and Andre have a bit more opportunity to play, and I do think they are going to play. They're going to get some play. I mean, these are guys that would be at best a wide receiver 3, but somebody that'd be good to have on your bench just because you never know, and they are getting they'll get some looks. So I like both of them for my sleepers. I have absolutely no one on the bench. There's no one you would remotely bench from the Broncos, and Matt Prater is an obvious kicker for a must start.
I would draft the Broncos bench before drafting the Carolinas starting running backs. That's how I feel.
It's a lot of sunglasses there, Squirt.
I have more. It's exciting. San Diego Chargers at San Francisco 49ers. Brandon.
This is actually going to be very simple. Phillip Rivers is barely playing because he makes it look easy. He has a 75% completion rate. He is just wrecking it. He and Jay Cutler, it's too much. I'm moving up in the ranks. I just don't care. I'm the honey badger because I don't give a F.
What?
Honey badger. Ryan Matthews, he did fumble on the goal line in the first game, but he's still the man, and he's going to get, most of the touches, so it is what it is. Keenan Allen, okay, he's only 1 for 2 for 13 yards and a touchdown in the preseason, but don't fair him. I know a lot of experts are going to poo-poo Keenan Allen and say he was a one-year wonder or sophomore slump, or I don't even know what else they're talking about. But trust me, you want him on your team, do it. Sleepers, Malcolm Floyd. I'm still running around screaming about Malcolm Floyd. 2 for 2 for 30 yards. Both were 15-yard passes. That's great. His ADP right now is 185. Steal of the draft.
Yes,
He's basically not even being drafted. It's nuts.
It's crazy.
I can't. By the way, also, Donald Brown is there for a reason. So if you have Ryan Matthews, you should definitely handcuff with Donald Brown. It's a little hard to know what's going on with this, but you have to do it. Woodhead is not the handcuff. Woodhead is the specialty guy. He's going at 109 ADP, and Donald Brown is going 165 ADP. Once again, you can get this guy at the end or not at all, but keep your eye on him. It's amazing. Deep League. Okay, so there's this guy named Dontrell Inman, and he is kind of someone I want you to keep your eye on. 4 for 6 passes, 122 yards, and a touchdown. Not bad. Ladarius Green, Antonio Gates. There's room for both of them, I think. I think they're going to do 2 tight end sets, but let me tell you, until Antonio Gates is dead, it's like Frank Gore. I will not bet against him.
Yeah, seriously.
So I like Ladarius Green. He's doing a great job, and it looks like they are going to have space for both of them. But I'm just saying, don't think that Gates is done.
Don't stop believing.
I mean, to be fair, Ladarius Green is 4 for 4 for 46 yards this preseason, so he's not doing a bad job. He's doing great. And 8 of the 9 snaps that Phillip Rivers has played, Ladarius Green was a starter. So they're obviously trying to get him acquainted with him. So it should be good. Bench, I don't know. I don't really feel a San Diego defense. But that's about it. 49ers, Frank Gore. He only went in for like 2 snaps, went 12 yards, came off the field, and everyone tapped his head, and he was like, yeah, listen, until he's in the ground, I will not bet against Frank Gore. I just won't. No. Although Carlos Hyde is in my sleepers because if something were to happen, Carlos Hyde is extremely capable. He's having a great preseason. He was my favorite running back in the draft. 9 rushing attempts for 50 yards. He caught 1 pass for 9 yards. But he's even better than that. Some of the stuff got called back on penalties because, as we know, we haven't really talked about it, but the preseason has been full with penalties.
Heavy
Crazy.
Yellow flag.
So it's hard. I mean, a lot of people's yards have been negated because of that, but he's great. Colin Kaepernick. You guys, I can't with him. 6 of 10 passes for 56 yards total. That's it.
That's brutal.
I
mean, who gets shut out in a preseason game? Preseason.
The only person that's really kind of stood out to me, so I watched both San Francisco games back to back, and I was like bored and confused. Would be probably my best way to describe my nature. But the only person that stood out to me was Bruce Ellington. So he's a rookie wide receiver. He is 7 for 10 for 59 yards, but he also runs back kicks, which if your league takes that into account, he's done a really pretty great job. He's the only guy doing it. And also, he's from South Carolina and is first cousins with Andre Ellington, so it can't be that bad. I'm not feeling Bolden or Crabtree. Need to see them in this game. And do not play Quentin Patton at all. He was getting some buzz as a wide receiver, but it's just, I wouldn't do it. And then Blaine Gabbert really is as bad as we thought he was. We got a Twitter thing that was like, you know, because they were asking what offenses are bad. I said Giants, and the guy was like, no, #Gabbert sucks. And I find that hilarious, and because he really shouldn't matter. But he's 11 for 25 for 60 yards and 2 interceptions. So
it's fun. It's fun.
Sanchez should go there.
Yeah, he'd be a great backup for Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, he would.
He'd be a great starter for the.
Wow.
I hate Colin. You know this.
Jeez.
All I'm saying is that could be a legit competition there.
No.
Yeah.
Sanchez, that's funny. Cincinnati Bengals, the Arizona Cardinals.
Last game.
Last game.
Our dress rehearsal went long, in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
Very long.
A lot of things we needed to cover before game day. Starters: AJ Green, husband, Lavia. Giovanni Bernard were engaged, and that's, you know, because the rain was nice. The Bengals have a new offense coordinator who likes to run the ball first, okay? So great. So Giovanni Bernard's stock has gone way up, and Andy Dalton's stock has gone way low, okay? Great. Awesome. The key is that the offensive coordinator is coming to a team that has Giovanni Bernard as their running back and A.J. Green as their wide receiver, Andy Dalton as their quarterback, okay? We just say this. Andy Dalton is the man, okay? He just is. And he's going in the 12th, 13th round. Okay. Yeah. Sign me up. I'll be drafting all running backs and wide receivers, maybe a tight end, and then I'll wait till the 12th round to take my quarterback. I'm okay with it. Love him. Love him, love him, love him.
Where does the hatred come from? I don't understand that.
It's because this new offensive coordinator. So he likes to run the ball. Okay, great.
He's still going to score points. I mean,
yes, he's amazing.
Because he had bad inconsistency problems, right?
Well, he has major. He throws interceptions like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Okay, great, awesome. Well, he also throws touchdowns and yards. So it kind of
agree.
Yeah, it kind of is like, okay, interceptions, it doesn't even matter at that point. I say that some people may have lost a game because of a last-minute interception by Dalton, but I'm just saying overall, I like him. And that brings me to one of my sleepers, which is Marvin Jones. He's going in like the 16th round.
Isn't he like super hurt though?
Well, no, he's back. I mean, he'll be out the first quarter, but he has big numbers. He had 10 touchdowns last year, and I bet you he will get 8 touchdowns in 3 quarters of the season. So, yes, he's out, but he is worth drafting. People keep talking about Josh Gordon. You know, he is great, don't get me wrong, but he's going to be out a lot longer than a Marvin Jones, who is going to get open, especially if it's run-first defense or run-first offense. It's only going to make it more open in the backfield for Mr. Jones. So I love him. 3 quarters, I'll take him late in my draft. Thank you.
Why is he suspended?
Oh, no, he's out for the first 4 games, at least the first quarter, due to a foot injury, I believe. I don't think he's suspended at all. right?
They
Maybe.
said
Am I wrong?
I'll look it up.
he's suspended for the first 4 games of the regular season.
Uh-oh.
And he'll
Uh-oh.
be able to have plenty of time to nurse his injury, which is a foot injury.
Right. That's why I missed the suspension part. I should know
Why
that.
is he? No, I'm sorry.
I hope it's drugs. I hope it's drugs because I hate to build him up like that and then it be bad news.
You can do it. You want. I just like literally all these things like popped up about him, and I was like, "Meh." Anyway, this is amazing. I agree with you. I think that he's gonna still catch touchdowns.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could be wrong.
Well, obviously you're not wrong. I don't know. I hopefully it's not anything totally controversial. Hopefully he just likes to smoke blunts. Moving on.
Blunts and
Blunts. Blunts and foot.
Foot blunts.
Foot blunts.
Foot problems and a blunt.
The Cardinals. Andre Ellington, serious boyfriend.
Yeah.
I'm a little high on him, but I like him. So there you go. He's gonna get a lot of touches this year, guys. He is the main part of the offense, so why not? He had 5.5. He was averaging 5.5 yards per touch last year, which is amazing. It was the highest average. So, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to use him more this year than they did last year, so don't be scared that he burned you last year. This year he's going to be more bigger part of the offense. Larry Fitzgerald's boyfriend, Michael Floyd, we're dating. We haven't seen him yet this year since he has been out for a groin injury, but he'll be back this week, so we'll see if he's up to the over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdown kind of year again. Let's see.
Nice.
Arizona's defense. Now this one is troubling for me. So we're on a separation right now. I usually love Arizona's defense, and I think they're fabulous, and they might still be great, but they lost another player this week.
Oh, it's like
Cornell
every week.
Dockett, torn in his ACL.
That one's a brutal one.
It stinks. It just stinks. It's just really sad. And they lost, 2 key players to their defense this offseason. One to Cleveland, the other one to suspension because he's a loser for so many different reasons. I knew that suspension. I hope Jones isn't a mess. So I'm worried about Arizona's defense, but they're still top 12 defense. So hopefully they'll still be good for you if you've already drafted them. Carson Palmer, he's going, people. I mean, I don't think he's that bad at all.
I like him.
Draft him your second quarterback, and I think he's good. Yeah, that's where I have him. I have him as my sleeper. So that's where I'm at with Arizona and my little Bengals, who I love this year. I really love the Bengals. So
I thought you were going to say My Little Pony.
no, I hate My Little Pony now. It's
They're weird looking now,
it's
right?
totally weird. Yeah, they've really gone downhill.
Oh, I don't have children, so I only have my childhood
They're weird.
memories.
They don't look like the normal My Little Ponies. Now they're like all like
Mangled.
no. Like how do you describe it, Courtney?
I should know this. It's the Japanese animation type.
Yeah.
And that's what they are. Yeah, and that's what a lot of our old school cartoons have gone to now, which is whatever. It's fine for the new kids if that's what they're into. But for me, it's not what I'm into. Sorry, My Little Ponies. Sorry. My children will not be watching you. But any last-minute thoughts, ladies?
I'm just excited to have football back.
Yay!
Yeah,
I'm excited we have this show.
This is the week. This is the big week to pay attention to before your draft to see who actually won't be playing. So I think starters should play at least 3 quarters.
And to get your sleepers, women's intuition, people. You see somebody and you think, it's okay if they're not getting drafted and you want to drop them in the last round. It's okay. If you feel good, you see something that sparks something in your tummy, draft them.
Bruce Ellington.
Bruce Ellington. Bruce. Awesome
name.
So good. Once again, come check us out at herfantasyfootball.com and on iTunes. A nice rating and comment would be appreciated. Don't forget to hop on to ESPNW next week for our premiere on August 28th. And catch us on Twitter at HerFantasyFB. Until next time, no more faking it.